An Alien Walks into a Bar by Jansen Davies. Chapter 1. The Crash Landing. The stars blinked out one by one as the ship tore through the atmosphere, trailing fire like a comet with a grudge. It wasn't supposed to land here, this dusty, pine-fringed nowhere on the edge of civilization. But the alien inside had long since stopped caring about supposed to. Systems failed. Coordinates scrambled. Gravity won. The impact crater steamed in the moonlight. A figure rose from the wreckage, tall and lean, wrapped in a shimmering exosuit that flickered with residual energy. He blinked, adjusted its ocular membranes, and began walking. Miles passed. Forest gave way to cracked asphalt. The alien's gait was steady, purposeful, as if drawn by something more than survival. A neon sign buzzed in the distance. The Rusted Fang, cold beer, barbecue ribs. Inside, the bar was chaos incarnate. A jukebox wheezed out outlaw country songs. Tables were overturned. A man with a beard like a steel-wool bird's nest was being hurled through a window. The bartender, an older woman, broad, tattooed, and missing 2 fingers, didn't flinch. Then the door creaked open. Every head turned. The alien stepped inside, ducking beneath a broken door frame. His suit shimmered once, then faded into a dull matte. He scanned the room. The room scanned back. "You lost, spaceman," the bartender grunted, polishing a glass with a rag that looked like it had survived the Civil War. The alien tilted its head. "I require sustenance and shelter." The woman squinted. "You got cash?" "No." "Then you got nothing but trouble." A biker lunged. The alien didn't move. The biker stopped midair, frozen, then gently floated backward and landed in a chair, upright, confused, and suddenly sucking his thumb. The woman raised an eyebrow. "You do that?" "Yes." A long pause, then a grin. "Tell you what. You want food and a roof over your head? You be my bouncer. No one lasts more than a day. Furniture gets broken. Teeth get lost. You up for it?" The alien tilted his head and considered. "Yes, I accept your generous offer." The bartender tossed him a leather jacket. "Welcome to the Rusted Fang. I'm Mags." The alien slipped it on. It fit perfectly. "You can call me Jack," the alien said. Outside, the stars kept blinking. Inside, the legend of the alien named Jack began. Chapter 2. Leather, Blood, and Gravity Tricks. The Rusted Fang didn't believe in quiet nights. By 6 p.m., the jukebox was howling, the pool table was missing a leg, and someone named Chainsaw Rick was trying to arm wrestle a pit bull. Jack, the alien now wrapped in a borrowed leather jacket, stood by the door, arms folded, eyes glowing faintly beneath the brim of a trucker cap someone had tossed at him. The first test came early. A biker named Moose, built like a refrigerator with tattoos, stomped up to Jack and spat a challenge. "You're the new bouncer? Let's see if you bounce." He swung. Jack didn't move. The punch stopped midair, suspended like a paused movie. Moose blinked. Then his entire body rotated 180 degrees and gently sat itself down on a bar stool. The crowd roared. "Do it again!" someone shouted. Jack didn't respond. He just turned slightly, scanning the room like a predator with a clipboard. Later, a trio of bikers tried to rush him. One ended up stuck to the ceiling. Another found himself folded into a pool cue rack. The third was gently teleported outside, where he landed in a kiddie pool full of green sludge. Mags, the bartender, owner, and unofficial warlord of the Fang, watched with growing delight. "You're not just bouncing," she said, handing Jack a plate of ribs. "You're reinventing gravity." Jack nodded. "I am adapting to the situation." By midnight, the bar was still standing. No broken windows, no unconscious patrons, Just a lot of confused bikers nursing bruises and damaged pride. One of them, a wiry man named Twitch, approached Jack with a beer and a question. "You ever kill anyone?" Jack looked at the beer. "Not recently, but the night is still young." Twitch nodded slowly and backed away. Mags leaned over the counter. "You're a hit, Jack. You might just last the week." Jack tilted his head. "I intend to last longer." Outside, the stars blinked faster. Inside, the legend grew teeth. Chapter 3. The Legend of Jack. By the third night, Jack wasn't just the bouncer. He was a myth in motion. The Rusted Fang had never known peace this long since it opened. No broken chairs, no shattered glass, just bruised egos and whispered rumors. Some said Jack could read minds. Others swore he bent time. One biker claimed Jack turned his fists into pudding mid-swing. No one believed him until Jack did it again. The bar's regulars began testing the limits. Brickhead Bill, famous for head-butting vending machines into submission, challenged Jack to a stare-down. No punches, just presence. Bill lasted 7 seconds before he burst into tears and confessed to cheating on his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's girlfriend. Another night, a gang called the Iron Fists rolled in. 6 men, all muscle and leather, notorious for clearing bars like hurricanes. They surrounded Jack. Mags reached for the shotgun from under the counter. Jack raised a hand to stop her. The Iron Fists froze. Then, one by one, they began dancing. Not violently, elegantly. A synchronized ballet of denim and leather. When it ended, they bowed, tipped their imaginary hats, and left in silence. Mags stared. "You choreographed a biker ballet," Jack shrugged. "It was an efficient exercise of their talents." Word spread. Bikers came from neighboring towns just to lose fights to Jack. Some brought gifts. One offered a motorcycle. Another tried to trade his ex-wife. Jack declined both. But not everyone was amused. Late one night, a mysterious stranger arrived. Tall, pale, eyes like mercury. He didn't speak. Just watched Jack from the corner booth, sipping something that steamed blue. Jack noticed and paused. Mags leaned in. "You know him?" Jack's voice was low. "He knows me." The jukebox skipped. The lights flickered. Outside, the stars blinked faster. Inside, the legend was about to be tested. Chapter 4. Protocol Breach. The stranger didn't blink. He sat in the corner booth like a shadow that had decided to wear skin. His drink steamed blue, and the air around him shimmered faintly, like heat waves or a warning. Jack stood still, watching. The bar, once rowdy, had gone silent. Even Chainsaw Rick stopped mid-belch. Mags leaned close. "You sure you know him?" Jack's voice was low. "He's not a him. He's a protocol, a creature of cosmic rules." The stranger rose. His boots didn't make a sound. His eyes locked onto Jack's, and for a moment the room felt like it was tilting sideways. Bottles rattled. The jukebox died. A biker passed out without drinking. "You've broken Earth's containment," the stranger said, voice like static wrapped in velvet. Jack stepped forward. "I've evolved and adapted." "You were not meant to adapt. You were meant to perish after your usefulness expired." Mags reached for the shotgun again. Jack raised a hand. "I'll handle this, Mags." The stranger extended a palm. A sphere of light formed, cold, pulsing, hungry. Jack didn't flinch. Instead, he vanished. One blink later, he reappeared behind the stranger. Teleportation. The stranger spun, but Jack was gone again, now standing on the bar, then by the jukebox, then outside the window, watching from the parking lot. The crowd gasped. Twitch dropped his beer. The stranger snarled and fired a beam of compressed entropy. Jack caught it mid-air, redirected it through his palm, and fired it back as a focused laser from his eyes, clean, red, and surgical. It sliced through the pool table, vaporized a broken stool, and carved a perfect circle in the wall behind the stranger. The stranger blinked. "You've weaponized adaptation." Jack nodded. "I've weaponized my purpose." The stranger lunged. Jack vanished again, reappearing midair, grabbing the stranger by the collar and teleporting them both outside. They landed on the gravel, surrounded by stunned bikers. Jack's eyes glowed. Twin beams of light erupted from his pupils, searing, precise, and unrelenting. The stranger raised a shield, but it cracked under the pressure. Jack stepped forward, each movement a teleportation burst, flickering like a strobe. The final blow came as Jack teleported behind the stranger, whispered something in a language no one understood, and tapped his spine. The stranger collapsed. Not dead, just decommissioned. Jack returned to the bar, boots crunching gravel, jacket untouched. Mags handed him a fresh plate of ribs. "You just bounced a cosmic containment protocol." Jack nodded. "He was disruptive to the atmosphere." The jukebox rebooted. The lights flickered back to life. Chainsaw Rick resumed belching. Outside, the stars blinked in fear. Inside, the legend had evolved in something more. Chapter 5, The Night of Broken Steel. The Rusted Fang had seen fights, but never like this. It started with a roar, engines snarling outside like beasts in heat. A dozen bikes rolled up, chrome glinting under the flickering neon. The riders dismounted in silence. No laughter, no swagger, just a mission. They were called the Dark Choppers, ex-military, ex-human, some said, known for leaving bars in ashes and bouncers in ambulances. Mags muttered, "Hell just clocked in." Jack stood by the door, jacket zipped, eyes dim with anticipation. "You're the alien," Slag growled, stepping forward, arms like wrecking balls, face carved from concrete. "We're here to break you." Jack blinked once. "Proceed at your own peril." Slag charged. The impact was thunder. Jack sidestepped, grabbed Slag's wrist, and twisted. Bones cracked like dry branches. Slag screamed, flipped midair, and landed face first into a table that didn't survive the impact. Two more Dark Chopper's bikers lunged. Jack ducked, swept one's legs, and drove the other into the jukebox with enough force to make it play Ring of Fire. The jukebox exploded. So did the crowd. A fourth biker swung a chain. Jack caught it mid-whip, yanked, and sent the biker flying through the air like a rag doll. He landed on the pool table, which splintered like a coffin under a meteor. Then came the big one. Gorehound, 7 feet tall, covered in scars and spiked steel. He carried a sledgehammer and a reputation for ending fights, and lives with a single swing. He didn't speak. He just charged. Jack met him halfway. The hammer came down. Jack caught it with both hands. The floor cracked. The walls groaned. Jack twisted, drove a knee into Gorehound's chest, and launched him backward, through the bar's front wall, across the parking lot, and into a dumpster that slammed shut like a judge's gavel. Silence. Then cheers. Mags lit a cigarette with shaking hands. "You just bounced the apocalypse." Jack turned. They were interrupting a quiet night. The bikers limped away, dragging their broken pride behind them. One paused, looked back, and saluted with one finger. Inside, the Rusted Fang was wrecked. Jack looked around and waved a hand. All the damage and destruction was instantly repaired. The pool table, the bar stools, the walls and windows, all reconstructed even better than they were originally. The legend had grown claws. And Jack? He went and sat at the bar, sipping root beer, watching the stars blink in fear. Chapter 6, High Noon at the Rusted Fang. The sun hung low, fat and unforgiving, casting long shadows across the cracked asphalt outside the Rusted Fang. Inside, the air was tense. Jack stood by the door, arms folded, eyes dark with anticipation. They were coming. A convoy of black SUVs rolled in, unmarked but unmistakable. Government, or something worse. Outstepped men in black suits, cold, clinical, armed with tech that hummed like angry bees. Behind them, a containment unit. Reinforced, meant for Jack. Mags muttered, "They're here to take you." Jack didn't move. "They'll try." The lead agent stepped forward. "Subject X7, you are in violation of the Interstellar Invasion Accords. Surrender." Jack's voice was calm. "I have found purpose here. I don't wish to be contained." The agent raised a hand. Weapons powered up. Drones hovered. The air thickened. Then came the rumble. Motorcycles. Dozens. The Rusted Fang's regulars, Chainsaw Rick, Twitch, Brickhead Bill, even Gorehound, bruised but loyal, rolled in like a cavalry of chaos. They dismounted, formed a line behind Jack, leather and steel gleaming in the sun. "You want him," Mag said, stepping forward, shotgun in hand. "You go through us first." The agent hesitated. "You're defending an alien." "He's our bouncer," Twitch said. "And our friend." Slag cracked his knuckles. "And he still owes me a rematch," the agent signaled. The drones surged. Jack moved. The first drone exploded mid-air, torn apart by a kinetic pulse. Jack spun, deflected a stun beam into an SUV, which crumpled like a soda can. Bikers charged, chains clashed with tech, fists met armor. The Rusted Fang became a war zone. Gorehound tackled a mech-suited agent into the gravel. Brickhead Bill headbutted a drone into a tree. Mags fired, reloaded, fired again. Jack was everywhere, teleporting, redirecting, disabling. He caught a drone missile mid-flight and crushed it in his palm. He lifted an SUV with one hand and set it down gently, on top of two agents. The battle lasted 7 minutes. Then silence. The agents retreated, dragging their wounded, leaving behind wreckage and shame. The bikers stood victorious, bruised but grinning. Jack turned to Mags. "They were extra unruly," Mags laughed. "You bounced a government raid." Jack nodded. "With welcome assistance." The bikers cheered. Someone painted Jack's silhouette on the wall. Someone else wrote a ballad. Chainsaw Rick cried. Outside, the sun dipped below the horizon. Inside, the legend had an army. Chapter 7. The Rusted Fang Revival. The Rusted Fang had changed. Once a war zone of shattered glass and broken ribs, it now pulsed with music, laughter, and the scent of smoked ribs and redemption. Jack still stood sentinel at the door, leather jacket zipped, eyes glowing faintly. But the chaos had ceased. It started with karaoke. Mags installed the machine herself, wiring it into the jukebox's corpse and adding a fog machine for dramatic flair. Chainsaw Rick was the first brave soul to try it, belting out, "I walk the line," with such raw emotion that 3 bikers wept and one proposed to a bar stool. Then came Ladies' Night. Every Thursday, the Fang transformed. String lights, free drinks, no testosterone tantrums. Women from all walks of life, secretaries, teachers, ranchers, filled the bar with stories, songs, and laughter. Jack stood by the door, nodding respectfully, occasionally teleporting spilled drinks back into their glasses. The bikers didn't interfere. They watched, learned, and eventually joined the line dancing. Yes, line dancing. Mags declared Saturday's country night. Hay bales appeared. The new jukebox played outlaw twang. Even Gorehound wore a bolo tie. Jack, ever adaptive, learned the steps perfectly and led the line with robotic precision and alien flair. His boots never missed a beat. His spins defied physics. Locals who once feared the bikers now danced beside them. Twitch taught a quilting class. Slag opened a dog grooming business. Brickhead Bill became a substitute teacher. The Rusted Fang was no longer a bar. It was a community gathering spot. Jack remained the sentinel. He bounced no one, because no one needed bouncing. Instead, he watched karaoke duets, line dance battles, and the occasional emotional breakdown over lost love and cheap whiskey. He offered silence, presence, and the occasional gravity-defying hug. Mags leaned on the bar, arms crossed, smiling. "You turned my bar into a family." Jack nodded. "I adapted." Outside, the stars blinked in rhythm. Inside, the Rusted Fang pulsed with life, laughter, and the kind of peace only earned through chaos. Chapter 8. The Road Beyond the Fang. The Rusted Fang was thriving. Mags was making more money than she had ever seen in her life. Karaoke nights echoed with outlaw ballads and off-key duets. Line dancing had become a local sport. Bikers taught poetry, fixed fences, and babysat. The bar was no longer a refuge for chaos. It was the heartbeat of the town. Jack stood outside watching the stars. He didn't speak much these days. He didn't need to. His presence had become a kind of gravity, steady, silent, impossible to ignore. Children waved to him. Elders nodded. Even the mayor had stopped by once, offering him honorary citizenship. Jack declined. He wasn't built for permanence. Mags joined him on the porch, sipping coffee from a mug shaped like a skull. "You're thinking about leaving," she said. Jack nodded. "There is imbalance elsewhere." "You fixed us." "I brought order." She handed him a small box. Inside, a patch, black and silver, the Rusted Fang's emblem. "Take it," she said, "so they know where you came from." Jack tucked it into his jacket. The next morning he was gone. So was the decked-out motorcycle the bikers had given Jack as a parting gift. No speech, no ceremony, just tire tracks in the gravel and a faint hum in the air. The town woke to find a mural painted on the bar's outer wall. Jack's silhouette, arms folded, eyes glowing, watching the horizon. Miles away, a new town simmered with unrest. A bar called the Chrome Widow flickered with neon and violence. Fights broke out hourly. The bouncer had been replaced by a steel door that occasionally screamed. Then the door creaked open. A figure stepped inside. Leather jacket, dark eyes, silent purpose. The legend had arrived. The end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.